Anyway, good morning, everybody. Welcome to
Good
the
morning.
today's Restaurant News
Good morning.
Networking Group.
Morning. Hi, Ed.
We are a group of vendors in the industry who are experts in our field, and we are available to restaurants throughout the country who might have a problem. They are welcome to join us on Friday morning to bring their questions in, and hopefully we can help you solve them. And if we can't, we can direct you to somebody who can. Today, we have one of our experts, Bruce Silver, who is a expert in employee benefits. So, Bruce, you ready?
I am. If you'll let me share my screen, that'll
Absolutely.
be great.
You got it.
Let's see. I think I got to fire this up first. Okay. So my name is Bruce Silver, and the name of my company is Employers RX. And normally when I meet somebody at a networking event, I invariably it goes to, Bruce, what do you do? And I would say, I'm a PEO broker. And everybody would go, well, that's great. What is a PEO? So I thought today, rather than use my normal elevator pitch where I talk about them, that PEOs stands for Professional Employer Organization, and they basically do the same thing that every small business does. They process a payroll, they provide workers' compensation and benefits and HR services. And what I thought we'd do today is a deep dive into what you can expect from a typical, or I shouldn't say typical, a quality professional employer organization. And what I'm going to focus on today is a company called Frank Crum, who operates out of Florida in Pensacola. And they've been in business about 25 years, maybe 30 years. And I happen to think that they're a high quality PEO. So what I want to do is I want to go through some of the services that they provide and take you into a deep dive rather than throwing out a lot of generalities at you. So basically, this is Frank Crum. And the first thing I want to point out to you is that they are one of the few PEOs that actually own their own workers' compensation carrier. So when I say you're being covered in workers' compensation by a carrier, it's their insurance carrier that is providing you with the coverage. So obviously they handle everything for the employer. They also provide payroll administration. They do all the W-2s, HR expertise. They do all the OSHA 300 reporting. And I don't know if you've had employees where you had to do an OSHA 300 report. It could be very time consuming and you want it to be accurate. They provide employment practice liability insurance. They do all the background checks and drug testing. They provide employee benefits. They do all the benefit administration and provide you with a retirement savings plan. And quite frankly, okay. What I would like to do is just take you through what happens when you sign up with a company like Frank Crum. First, what they do is when they go through the new client implementation, they will set up all the accounts for you. You get a state-of-the-art human resource information platform, and they take care of bringing all the employees on board. They provide all the training for the employer self-service portals, which I'm going to go into in a little more detail in a little bit later. They set up all the payroll deductions and all the withholding for your employees. They handle all the garnishments, child support. They arrange to have how they're going to pay the employees, so they can get it in a check, or they can get direct deposit, or they can get a pay card, whatever is beneficial for the employee and what they want. They handle all of the open enrollment for benefits. Now, if you're a small business and you're trying to do this on your own, this can take weeks of going through the enrollment, figuring out what plan designs are available, which insurance carriers you're going to go with. It's extremely time consuming. All right. They enroll all of the employee benefits, I said, and as I said, we'll get into that in a minute. They process and audit your first payroll for you to make sure it's accurate. They handle all of the state and federal payroll regulations. And quite frankly, if you're operating in multiple states, each state has their own rules and regulations, and it's important that you get it right. They allocate all of the wages. They make sure everybody's in the right classifications. They handle all of the withholding, all the reporting. They do all the year-end audits. They provide all the W-2s. So they literally take care of the entire payroll process. All right. And in addition to which, they handle the certificates of insurance, tax notices, additional services, workers' comp posters. They give you a portal for your employees, which we'll get into, and they handle all the administration of workers' compensation and regulations with the state and federal government. They handle they'll create an employee handbook for you. They'll make sure that it's up to date. As rules and regulations change, they update all of the documentation. They're there to handle any issues with hiring or corrective actions, termination questions. I will tell you that it is very, very easy for an employer, if he's about to terminate an employee, it's probably because that employer is not happy with that individual. And sometimes it is very easy to say or do the wrong thing and find out that now you have a problem with an employment where you're going to need an employment liability insurance policy, which they happen to provide as well. They handle all of the risk management, so they will go out and do on-site inspections. They'll point out any areas that might present a risk. You might need a mat by the sink or by the water fountain. They may have you paint staircases so that and put no slip surfaces on it. So they're literally partnering with you to make sure that you have a safe work site for your employees, which in the long run is going to save you a lot of money. If you do have a claim, they handle all of the claims. Their job is to make certain that the claim is a kosher claim, and if it is, they want to get that person the care that they need immediately, and they want to get them back to work as soon as possible, or get her back to work as soon as possible. They handle all of the paperwork, all of the reporting. They deal with OSHA if need be, and you're getting a true risk manager to help you with your safety training and make sure that the employer is doing the right thing. And again, they provide all of these employee benefits. If you had to go out and sit down with an insurance broker and analyze all of these different types of coverage and determine which one is going to be the most cost efficient for your organization, it will take you months. And what I'd like to do is I'd like to go into a little further detail just to give you an example. All right. So for instance, if I'm working with a client and they're looking at their benefit program, this is typically what I would get back from Frank Crum after I submit all their information for a proposal. So as you can see, you have medical, dental, vision, disability, supplemental insurance, ACA compliant MEC plans. I'm not going to get into that right now, but if you have low wage employees, that's a good way to offer inexpensive health insurance. They have flexible spending accounts, health savings accounts. Frank Crum actually has auto and home insurance. But just to give you an example of what happens with shopping for health insurance, their advisor is Aon. Now, I will tell you that Frank Crum has approximately 350,000 employees, of which about 200,000 are actually covered under their plan with Aetna. And when I get a quote back from them, you will see that I have a number of different plans that I can make available to my client. And here's an example where there's a $1,000 deductible, which would be $541 for that employee. We have a $5,000 deductible where the premium would be $324. And I don't want to go into the minutiae, but as you can see, we have literally 30 different plans to select from. And typically what I'll do with the client is we will come up with 4 plans. And then what the employer does is they will determine based on their budget how much they want to contribute. And by doing this, they're offering a fixed amount. Let's say they're offering $250 or $300 a month. The employee can choose whichever plan they want. And this way, the onus is off the employer if the employee is not happy with his health plan or her health plan. So, the employer knows exactly what it is that his cost is going to be because he's setting the budget for the year. I just want to go through some of the other plans. In addition, oh, by the way, with Frank Crum, in addition to getting the health plan, when you select the health plan, they also give you $10,000 of life insurance. Now, a lot of people may say, well, so what? However, if you're recently recovered from cancer, or you've got a heart condition, or you're obese, or you've got a liver problem, or any number of critical illnesses that people might have, being able to get $10,000 of life insurance is pretty valuable. In addition to which, they have group insurance, which, and again, as I mentioned, up to, I think it's $50,000, regardless of what your health condition is, they are going to give you the coverage. So in some cases, for some employees, that is extremely valuable coverage. They offer dental insurance, a 401k plan. The employer does not have to contribute. So if the employer wants to say he has a 401k plan, he goes ahead and does it. And I just want to show you what the cost is to the company. It's $0. So basically, they're getting a free 401k plan, and the employees pay $7 a quarter for managing their accounts for them. They have legal plans, which quite frankly is very valuable. And again, the employer does not have to pay for any of this. They're just making it available. It's like a smorgasbord of benefits. It's a la carte, and the employee chooses whichever plans and benefits are of value to them. So some people see the value in having a legal plan. quite frankly, it usually pays for itself. Especially in this day and age and in this country, it's real easy to find yourself in need of an attorney. In addition to which, for instance, this is tickets at work. This is a pretty good discount if you like going to concerts or you like going to Broadway or Vegas. They have discounts. And I like to call it Disney dollars, but it's 30% off Universal and 25% off Six Flags. They have pet insurance. I don't know about you, but I've had dogs most of my life. And sometimes when they go to the vet, they cost a lot more than I do. So
Brian needs you.
it's pretty valuable car. It's only $7 a month. I mean, it really is. It's cheap. It's very inexpensive. And
Thanks, Howard.
and I will tell you that it's not with this company, but there's another company that has a pet plan that actually covers horses. And a horse is very, very expensive to treat. So I don't know if they're still doing that. They may have lost on that one. They have LifeLock.
A LifeLock. Okay.
Yes. All right.
I get
And
emails
again,
from
these are rates that you can't get. These are group rates. So they have a LifeLock that's $8.50. In addition to their LifeLock Ultimate, and they have the one with Norton as well. And just so you understand that they make everything easy. Everything is pre-populated. You go online. I mean, as you can see, when you sign up with them, the employees and you as an employer, you have this whole panoply of benefits. Well, they make it really easy for the employee. There's an employee portal that the employee goes into. Everything that is available, and including the plans that the employer and I sat down and worked out, is pre-populated on the employee portal. So all the employee has to do is click and they've signed up for their benefits. So normally something like this, if you were dealing with an insurance broker and they didn't have a portal, this could take each employee hours to get the paperwork back and get it in. And I can't tell you the number of mistakes that are typically made. This is so easy, and it takes 5 minutes, and the employees can do it from their phone.
Is this only for companies, or could it be for organizations? You know, like
I would love to be able to say, we have this association of today's restaurant news and make it available to everybody. But the problem is most of the members are single employee firms, which they typically don't want to be bothered with. So if everybody had 5-10 employees or something like that, it might be something we'd be able to pull off. And what I wanted to do is I just, being that we're a restaurant group, I just wanted to give you a client success story. This happens to be an IHOP franchisee. And the guy's name is Tom Throm. He started with them when he had 2 franchises and then expanded into Florida. And at the time of this, he had 5 franchises. I understand now they're up to 8 and they've got about 300 employees. But I just want to go through what they've done for Tom Throm and his franchise of IHOPs. They do all of the payroll, the workers' compensation, drug testing. I understand they're providing them with the benefits now, which they weren't initially. But they see the light that you have to have good benefits for the employees. They handle all of the personnel. I understand that all new hires go through somebody at the office and at Frank Crum. They handle all of the unemployment. They handle all the filings, and obviously all their HR issues. They handle the employee manual. They update it every year, and particularly in restaurants, the tip tax credit is extremely valuable. And some firms, believe it or not, do not take advantage of it. And in the case of this organization, he said it saved them about $50,000 a year working with Frank Crum. So that's going to pay for the services they provide you all on itself. They were able to lower their workers' comp rates, and quite frankly, I don't know anybody out there that is more competitive than Frank Crum if they want the business. So if you're an attractive risk or no risk, they can be extremely competitive. In addition to which, if you really want to bring your rates down, you can have loss sharing arrangements where you take the first $1,000 or $2,500 of the claim, and they'll actually reduce your rates even more. If you're paying high workers' comp rates, this is a significant savings. In addition to which, if you've had some claims, the only way you're going to be able to lower your insurance if you have what they call a high experience mod rate, the only way you can do that and bring your costs down is actually working with a PEO. And finally, it's apparently they shop it every year. I'd hate to have a client like that, but again, Frank Crum is very attractive, very competitive, and quite frankly, they have great customer service. So that's the story of Frank Crum and what they can do for a small and mid-sized company, and why I enjoy working in this industry. And with that, I'll stop my share, and you guys can ask me any questions that you might have.
I just want to back up Bruce. And I'm going to put on my accounting hat and contractor hat for a second. Workman's comp, these guys will save you a ton of money. And in certain fields, you can't even get it. And the other thing, even just for simple payrolls, screwing up payroll can cause big fines. So having
the fines are more than the taxes and the grief.
Yeah, so having a PEO, I believe generally will save you money and will eliminate a tremendous number of headaches.
Well, you know, the thing that because my clients know to the dime whether or not the PEO is going to cost them any money or is going to save them any money, and that's because I put everybody through a spreadsheet. However, what doesn't show up on the spreadsheet is the time factor. And that's how much time you save. It's how much grief you don't go through because you're able to hand it off to professionals that A, know what they're doing, which is always important. And B, just to give you an example, I mean, if you're a family man and your kid has got a ball game, and I can free up 2 or 3 hours of your time so you can get to your kid's ball game, well, what number do you plug into the spreadsheet? I mean, really? So these are what I call the soft benefits of being with a PEO. Oh, by the way, and if you're a family man and you got 5 kids, those Disney dollars, oh my God, They're saving thousands and thousands of dollars.
Hey, Bruce, if I think I read this right, there was some note there about workers' comp that there's no annual audit. How do they go back then and check that you're paying the right amount? You have
Because,
to have payroll tied into that?
yes, that's exactly how it works. Yeah, you can't be with the PEO without the payroll.
Okay.
And who wants to do the payroll? I mean, really, it's,
Yeah, screwing up the payroll is really bad news.
and this is what people don't understand. In other words, if you were to go out and get, quote, an HR person, all right, you're going to be spending about $70,000 by the time you get finished with the salary, the benefits, the taxes, and everything else that goes along with having an employee. At best, you're getting somebody that may have 3 years of payroll experience in a particular state. They have payroll people that have been doing it for 15 years. They're doing it in 48 different states, and and they know their stuff, and and there is no HR professional out there that knows anything about risk management or workers' compensation or 401k plans. I mean, they know HR, but being an employer is not just HR. It's providing all the other services that employees need to make you an employer of choice. Because the truth of the matter is, if you have an open position, that means productivity is going down. You're losing sales. You need to make sure that every position at your company is full, especially if you're in the service business, you're a restaurant, and you don't have the bodies. What do? The owner's going to come in and start serving you some of them do.
If a restaurant has 10, 15, 20 employees, does it make sense to them to be on a program like you're offering?
I know some restaurants, they've had 3 or 4 claims. So instead of, having a $4 rate for a restaurant person, they're paying an $8 rate for a restaurant person for workers' comp. So depending on, and I like to say, if you're not spending any money, I'm not going to save you any money. So it's the value proposition, but very often the PEO, there's significant savings in the benefits in the workers' comp where you're almost getting it for free.
But so, a program like this certainly gives you a leg up in the hiring process, and Chris can talk to that. If a company is offering a program like this, it makes it a lot easier to hire people, especially in this environment.
Mm-hmm. What Bruce does is level the playing field. So if you've got a pizza by the slice corner restaurant that's got 15 to 18 employees total, you can go right up against Darden or Marriott or whatever in terms of benefits, which is huge. And Bruce is so much on the right track. It's fantastic. And that's why I've gladly and willingly endorsed him. And he's followed up immediately with people I have endorsed him to. And will continue to do so. It's just such a valuable service.
And by the way, Chris was fortunate enough to send me a referral that I was working with. And, some employers, they just kind of think about themselves. So in this particular case, they wanted, they're out of Atlanta and they wanted Kaiser Health. Now, Kaiser Health is a small health plan with the exception of California. They pretty much own California. But any other place, it's a very limited program. They don't have, they've got one facility and a bunch of doctors. And this prospect had requested it from me twice. So I actually went out and I found 3 other different PEOs that have Kaiser and make it available in the Atlanta area. But in the long run, it would have been great for the employer, but not so great for his employees. And typically, if you're going to do something like this, you want to make it something that's attractive to the employees and not be focused on, what you're doing for yourself. So, but I was glad I was able to find a few other PEOs that were able to make it available if he wanted it.
Chris is going swimming.
Yeah,
No, I had Kaiser Permanente in California for 25 years.
Right,
and
it's
they
terrific
were
in
great.
California. Yeah,
Huh?
absolutely. They're
Yeah.
terrific in California.
They
Yeah,
own California. Yeah.
right. You see, in Atlanta, they're sort of like what I have with Cleveland Clinic here in Florida. You've got a couple of facilities and
And that's it. Yeah.
and that's it, and then you got to get a referral from them to get the doctor, so.
And Bruce, I don't know if you know, but if you go back through our archives online, Frank Crum their PR people have sent us several articles of which I've used many times. So they have, I know that they got calls and sales on those. Those are, that the Frank Crum articles, I have them, what they wrote was on all those different things that you touched on. I probably got about 6 articles, 7 maybe, all on different topics, but they went into such detail. Everything that you've said is right on for what they do.
Right.
And
No, they're experts. Look, they're experts in the field. And not only, and let me just sort of give you there's the PEO way of doing things, and then there's doing it on your own. Okay. So usually what happens in the, what I like to call the small group market, or, the standard markets, is you have an employee, the employee has a claim. Now, quite frankly, the claim could be for something the guy did on a Sunday, okay, that was not work related. However, regardless of the claim, you're going to submit it to your insurance carrier. You're going to maybe pick up the phone to your broker, who's not going to be able to do too much for you, except, tell you who to speak to at the insurance company. But what'll happen is that claim is going to get paid, okay? And it's going to go against their record, and next year their premiums are going to go up. That's the way it is. With the PEO, typically, and I don't care which PEO it is, they all have a high deductible. So they might have a $500,000 deductible. They may have $1 million deductible, and that's per claim, which
that's a
means,
lot.
unless it's, like somebody fell off a 2-story ladder and broke his neck, and he's not dead, but he's going to be, a vegetable the rest of his life. That's what they call a shocker, because when you open up the file, you get a heart attack. But
I can't even imagine.
anyway, the bottom line is, if they pay the claim, it's coming out of their pocket. It's coming right out of Treasury, right off the top. Okay. So they're going to make sure that it's a righteous claim. And if it's not a righteous claim, they are not going to pay it. And it's not going to go against the client's loss ratio. So when I say you have a partner in the game, you really have a partner in the game. And there's something called what you're signing. When you sign the contract, you're signing what's known as a co-employer agreement, which means they're the employer of record. The business owner is what they call the worksite employer. He tells the employees what to do, how to do it, where to do it, yada, gives them all the supplies. But because it's a co-employer relationship, a lot of the liability of being a quote employer lies with the PEO, not with the employer. And in some situations, there's what they call a shared liability. All right. So if there's an incident in the office, let's say, and somebody touches somebody inappropriately or says something inappropriately, then they're both going to be sued. And but at least you have this HR organization in your corner, making sure that they minimize whatever the damage could be. Because if you have to go out and do it on your own, now you're going to get yourself a $50,000 attorney to.
Okay. Well, any other
Hey, Matt.
questions? Any other questions for Bruce?
Hey, Bruce,
Yeah,
so two things real quick. You can work in Georgia, right? Or all over the country, right?
around the globe.
Okay. And the other one is, so you could probably work with maybe somebody has like 3 or 4 employees, or is it more cost effective to get to more like the 15,
Again,
20?
if typically where I get the situation where it's 3 or 4 employees, they're highly compensated, benefits are really important. They don't mind filling out a health questionnaire for health insurance. It's a little more involved.
Okay. All right. All right. I'll keep that in mind. Things.
Please do, Brian.
I will.
Don't forget,
By the way,
Brian, they
Matt,
have the
I
dog
wa-
insurance.
Matt, I wanted to thank you for trying to get me some health insurance. I mean, some homeowners insurance, but
Man.
I wound up in the state fund with Southern Fidelity. So
Right.
is that going to be a 9-month ordeal? Do I have to, drive up there and knock on their door? How do I get my money back?
Well, well, to the extent that they've been able to secure all of the assets of Southern
I hear
Fidelity.
this. They're picking up some real estate.
Yeah, so, what I will tell you, it's tough to give you a specific date. I know they wanted to have a lot of the unearned premium back to their policyholders by July 15th, so that's come and gone. And so I know the Florida Guarantee Fund is making every effort. The unfortunate thing, right, is that, this is one of many companies in the past 6 months that have become insolvent. So they're overwhelmed. And unfortunately, the situation in the Florida homeowners market is not going to get any better. There's a very troubling article that's going to be released early next week about other companies that are still writing business, but are potentially looking at rating downgrades from Demotech, which is just going to make a dire situation worse, if that's believable. But anyway, it's my pleasure to help you on, or try to help you on that, Bruce.
Well, what are they going to, if these companies are going to get downgraded? I remember my mortgage required an A rating.
Correct. That's the exact problem right there. So Demotech, right, with an A rating, that meets the approval of Freddie Mac and Fannie Mae. But if they're downgraded to an S, they no longer meet their requirements. And so technically speaking, those folks who have policies with those companies that have been downgraded are going to have to seek new insurance. And it's hard to even think about the disaster that can cause. And again,
Wow.
we're getting close to the middle of the peak of hurricane season. Citizens is projecting that by the end of the year, they're going to have over 1 million policies. I don't want to get too political. It just seems like the folks in Tallahassee have not taken this thing seriously enough. And listen, there are some bad actor insurance companies out there. They've done a lot of bad things, but what's really driving this is the amount of litigation and bad behavior on a part of a few attorneys, roofers, contractors, and insurance companies.
Hey, Matt, I have a quick question for you.
Yes, Brian.
When does I'm not trying to be ignorant or dumb, whatever. When does hurricane season really begin? I thought maybe you've already I've seen like hurricanes like June, maybe May sometimes.
Started, Brian, June 1st, right? But you kind of look at the trends and it starts to peak middle of August all the way through September, or maybe the first month or a week or two into October.
Yeah.
Then things settle. It doesn't mean we can't get one, but when you kind of look at the activity out in the tropics, things really heat up during that time.
Brian, we have to be thankful for that Saharan dust storm. All right, let it stick around because it's wiping.
I hear you. Every time I was thinking around the forecast, I'm like,
Because we get
how-
tornadoes up here, so.
We do too. Actually, Florida is one of the biggest states for tornadoes.
Really, I didn't, okay.
Most
Steve,
people,
is that your boat behind you?
it is. I thought since we're talking about it, I found it's my old boat. I found a picture of it.
Wow, that's really nice.
That's for sure, particularly on a
That's a,
Friday.
it's a sleeper, right?
Oh yeah, it had 3 cabins.
Wow. Wow. I had a boat in California, but it wasn't like that. It was
right,
an
let me-
inboard, about a 21 footer, but it wasn't, it was for the kids to ski on.
No, and actually those make some sense. Anything that gets this size, you need to have your head examined, frankly.
That's
Mhm.
really
loved it.
nice. You could live on that, literally. If you
Oh yeah,
had to.
no, it
you
was
could.
we used to call it our 3-2 on the water. You know, we'd spend every weekend on it.
Wow. Very
Where-
nice.
Where did you have it docked?
Dinner Key Marina in Coconut Grove, Miami.
Uh-huh.
Mhm.
So Bruce, want to thank you very much for a very informative presentation.
Always a pleasure, Howard. I really enjoy working with the group and it's always a lot of fun.
So I encourage you to use this video, which will appear on YouTube, on our YouTube channel, which is Today's Restaurant. And you can direct your customers or people from Frank Crump to take a look at your presentation if you choose to.
We'll see what it looks like.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun. So next week we have Matt, who will be informing us as to what he does, and also in the insurance world, and I guess how you work with Bruce and how you work with Chris. I'm sure there's a lot of intermingling there. So I guess we can
Intermingling, is that legal?
yeah. Well, it's the same as what you said. You said something about a kosher deal.
Picked up on that one too.
I'm going to officially end the meeting. I thank you all for coming. We'll see you next week.
Have a great weekend,
Have a
everyone.
great weekend, and I'll keep it open for anybody who wants to hang around and kibitz.